Welcome to PropTech Pulse, the podcast that takes the pulse of prop technology in multifamily. I'm your host, Shelley Robinson, and each week we'll be diving deep into innovations, challenges, and the future of work in property technology and multifamily. From AI-driven property management to blockchain and real estate, we're here to explore how technology is reshaping the way we live, work, and invest in multifamily communities. Whether you're a property manager, a tech entrepreneur, an executive, or even simply curious about the future of living spaces, PropTech Pulse is your weekly dose of insights and inspiration. So let's sync our rhythms and get on with the show. It's time to take the pulse. Welcome to PropTech Pulse. Today I have Venn with me, and we've got and Chen with me. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you for having us.
Most welcome. I've been excited for this conversation, and ever since I heard about your company, and to kind of kick it off for our listeners, tell us a little bit about your journey that's brought you both to this point today to join in this conversation.
Cool. Should I start? Okay. So first of all, thank you for having us here. We thought it will be cool to be together here today, Chen and myself. It's pretty hard to say in English. So Chen, yes.
As you can tell, it's very hard for me.
So our journey actually started about 20 years ago. We both from Israel. About 20 years ago, we met each other in the military service. In Israel, everybody has to do that. This is part of life in Israel. So we met during our military service. And I was discharged about 10 years afterwards, and Chen and I thought that it would be cool to start do some cool stuff together. So we did a lot of various things. Chen traveled Latin America, I traveled Latin America. We started a real estate company. We built, owned, and operated about 1 million square foot of residential real estate over the years. And then we got into the hotel business. We were part of the creation of a very interesting hotel brand with 125 hotels in 25 countries, where we fell in love on the traveler journey in a lot of ways. It was before we both got married and had kids. And after traveling a lot all around the world, at some point we wanted to find a place to live, and we wanted to live in Tel Aviv. And we fell in love in a neighborhood in the South District of Tel Aviv, where we somehow found ourselves buying 30% of this neighborhood, and with the help of a lot of other people who wanted to be involved with it, and we wanted to build our own community over there.
Yeah.
Before we knew it, we were running this entire end-to-end business. It starts with the asset management, the property management, the experience management, etc. And it was pretty interesting to see how it evolved, because our personal dream was to live in a place where you just walk down the street and you see familiar faces, and you know your neighbors. You go to the coffee shop and the barista know you by your name. And we literally built it for our own sake, and hundreds of people became part of it, and it was so fun. But it also had a huge impact on the rent prices, to be honest, and on the valuation of the properties. It was a neighborhood that no one really wanted to live in the beginning, and 5 years afterwards, the price was almost quadrupled. And the people who live within the building were so pleased to be part of it. It was a place where we literally connected all the dots from a month before the resident move in. So how people search their apartment, how they submit their applications, how do they get to know the neighbors in the neighborhood before they even sign the contract, all the way to the move out. So apartment search, touring, application, background check, lease signing, move-in services, the entire resident life cycle, where we were obsessed by every single detail.
Yeah.
It was pretty manual in a lot of ways, but there was something magical about it, like to be part of every single touch point within the resident journey, like somewhere between the way the resident to want to be treated, and we thought customers, consumers, and not tenant and resident.
Yep.
And at the same time, we were the operators, and we thought about ourselves as like the people who obsess about making people's lives better and make the resident happy and want them to feel part of something. 2018 was an inflection point where we realized that this is what we want to do in life, and we want to turn this whole thing into a product.
Yeah.
We didn't know how long it will take to build something like that. So what we thought will take a year or two ended up with almost 5 years of product development with almost 100 people. That 70 to 80% of them are engineers, product designers, customer success people. We chose the US as our main market, and moved here a few years ago. And since then, we really trying to keep the same momentum in terms of like the quality and the perfection of this point of view. So yeah, it became pretty interesting to see how from this dream to live together we evolved to run like hundreds of buildings in 24 states right now in the US.
And that obsession of being resident focused, as I keep hearing that theme more and more. Is let's start to focus on the on-site staff experience and the resident experience, and solve that pain and that problem. So good to hear that passion.
I think that I will connect it to the history that Or gave. We both grew up in the 80s in Israel, which was a very communal and community-oriented time in the country. And we grew up in a very communal environment. I grew up in a kibbutz or grew up in a moshav. And one of the special things about it is that although technology was very limited back then, the structure of the operations of this, we can look at it as a gated community with a very high level of service and very high touch level of service. We both experience as childs, as teenagers, and then as adults that doesn't feel that because we moved to the city. We experience what can happen when a centralized operation is being take place, and how does this centralization and kind of very high touch with the residents can impact other aspects. Like those are the places where retention is the highest. People bringing their own friends because everyone want to live in this environment. So in a way, 30, soon to be 40 years after we grew up in those places, we came back exactly to the same point, but with a better recipe, which is technology and centralization and automation.
And
now, I think that, go ahead.
And I think that when you ask yourself, okay, it's not technology for technology's sake, right?
No.
So as Chen said, it means to an end. There is a reason behind it. The reason was to productize a lot of manual work that Chen and I did, and say, okay, this was successful, this was wrong, this didn't work, etc. And now let's productize it. So coming from the industry, being owners and operators, running every single, like being the front desk, the property manager, the regional manager, the leasing agent, like being the people, allow us to build the product that is aim to change something. Now, the change has two aspects, right? On the one hand, you really obsessed about people's life and how to make their life better. And at the same time, you need to make it sustainable. Now, it starts from a sustainable aspect, but today we know that it has a huge impact on NOI, on bottom line, on the brand of the building, having the ability to build brand equity, having the ability to increase retention, as Chen said. And more than that, when you have trusted relationship with your customers, and we see that everywhere, right? You see it, think about Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, when you are able to build trusted relationship with the customer, you gain their trust and you became the one source of truth. You become the one point of contact when it relates to their living experience. So connecting all those dots exposes you to so many opportunities. And those opportunities are your ability to monetize beyond the four walls. And this is what we've learned that has a huge potential to impact the businesses. And I think this was the inflection point for Venn as well. And connecting it to your point about the on-site team, about the operational team.
Yeah.
I think that the flow should be happy employee, happy resident, great business, right? And if I am an employee and I come to work for you in multifamily, and it's hard for me to work for you because I need to deal with 27 different logins and 27 different systems, first of all, I'm not going to stay long because my life is so hard. Second of all, residents are frustrated and they think it's because of me, while it's a lot of it relates to the infrastructure that I have.
Yes.
And lastly, as an employee, I'm not coming to work happy.
No, it is. It's so true. I had regional managers left and right saying they were leaving roles because they had, 12 different instances of Yardi with separate logins. And I know Yardi's addressed that, but if you continue to erode on efficiency with your staff, you're going to have turnover. People are looking for, and I hate to say this, that Domino's pizza. Where's my pizza, right? They want the workflows to be as simple, as automated as possible so that they can focus on that high level service. So I love what you both are working on. And, this kind of leads me to my next question for both of you. What do you see as the top 3 things changing in work with PropTech in the multifamily industry in the next 5 years? What do you see changing the most?
Yeah, I start, and I know that you have a very strong point of view about it, but Chen and I shared a very strong point of view about. And by the way, I'm about to say something pretty controversial.
Good.
I'll say 2 things. First of all, no one cares about another app. Okay, people don't care about apps. Okay, so when you come and pitch to the world that you're going to come with a new app, it doesn't mean anything. No one cares about app. To be honest, 3 to 5 years from now, I don't think that app will even be existed. I think that I think that when you want to go from 22nd Street to Crosby Street in New York, you don't really care if it's Lyft or Uber. You just want to make sure that you go from 22nd Street to Crosby Street, and you want to make sure that you got the best price with the car that you want to be driven. This is what you care about. And it's pretty obvious that you're going to take your phone and say, hey Siri, hey Mike, hey whatever, agent, I need to go from point X to point Y, and someone going to make the job for you. You see, she learned. She said she just said, I can't do that. She will be able to do that very soon.
That's a great prediction.
But this is exactly that. So if you're asking me, no one care about another app.
Yeah. Okay. Love that change.
So she keep answering me. I'm sorry. So she thinks that I'm still speaking to her. So it's app, in my point of view, will not be exist. What will be exist is experiences that make the consumer's life easy. Okay. And I think that this is what we're going to see in the next years, which means that probably 80% of the point solutions in our industry will not be exist because they're solving something extremely small and irrelevant, and the asset management team and the property management team would not be able to pay for so many point solution because it's too expensive.
Yep.
On the other hand, what will replace those solutions are different type of SaaS. So if we were in a world where software as a service was the main way to bring technology to the world, we're going to see more of a service as a service, which means that a lot of our day-to-day manual work will be replaced with AI agent. This is very clear. Everybody understands it. Now, if we already know that, the question is what's going to happen with the team on the ground who do the job. Our personal opinion about it, Chen and I, is that these people are not going to lose their job necessarily, but they're going to be channeled to build value. Okay? They're going to channel to build value, and this value is the opportunity to make money or monetize beyond the four walls. Because if the residents are happy, if the employees and the on-site team are happy, it means that we have, and the employees have spare time, it means that we can channel it to better hospitality, to increase the engagement with the resident, to make sure that the residents are so happy that they are staying longer, that we became the one-stop shop to everything living. And think about how huge is this opportunity. We've identified about $1,500 a unit a year that is just there for the industry to take. And there is so many companies in the world who are taking this money while the owners and the operators has zero out of it. And I think that the next 5 years, it's all about these opportunities. And that's going to change dramatically. And this is, by the way, this is why we started Venn. We believe that if you have this obsession and you build this level of relationship and forget about apps, think digital experience. You build a seamless digital experience that starts a month before the resident move in until a month after they leave, and you're able to connect all these dots. That's it.
Love
It's
it.
changing the whole game.
I think that if I can add that you asked before about resident centric, but I think in fact in the last couple of years we've been putting the PropTech founder in the center. Like we assumed because of COVID, that was an inflection point. People started to get, all those apps, 6 minutes delivery to my home, and technology was booming. And they found themselves asking, wait a minute, I'm living in an apartment paying 50-60% of my salary on a product. And in order to pay rent, I need to be an MIT developer in order to do it through like a web interface. And then in order to put the resident in the center, we brought this solution and this solution and this solution. And we ended up bringing many point solutions, making the life of the resident harder, making the life of the on-site team harder. And then we've been in a loser situation. So from that standpoint, we believe that the next 5-10 years going to be really putting the resident in the center, and by putting the on-site team in the center. And the way what we believe that we will see in the ecosystem is consolidation of products and much more ecosystems, which is a word that's been used before. But when we say ecosystem, we mean one interface for the resident, many different channels of communications, branded, the same messaging, the same standard, managed by one ecosystem, one interface for the on-site teams, with various of AI agents that make their day-to-day tedious task much easier and streamline and automate, and allowing them to deal with new value and new revenue streams, as we saw in the last decades in the hospitality. So if in the 90s, 2000, we saw Marriott as, just come to my hotel and book a room. In the last 20 years, we saw so many additional opportunities for the operator. So we believe that by centralization, streamline everything into one place, AI that will take the task and allow the on-site team to deal with different type of service and different type of business models as well.
Love it. And then that kind of gets us into what you all are working on, which is automation, right? And the automation, I think, in the industry, and our industry is like a full business industry. Sometimes we don't have necessarily the specialists at owners and operators to even say, what is automation? When companies are considering automation, what would you say to them are kind of the best practices of consideration when they start to look at? Because it could be, to me, that word could seem overwhelming. How are you all approaching that from a best practices standpoint? If it's a newer frontier in the industry.
Right. So, look, first of all, I think that the fact that we are talking about automation right now and people really believe when we talk automation, they are not cynical, because if you throw the word AI 2.5 years ago, people will roll their eyes and they said, we used to say, yes, we will say AI, which is artificial intelligence. So the fact that people are serious about it and they understand it's possible, it's a very big change. So given the fact that this already happened and people understand that automation will take place like big time in the coming years, the question is, what do I need to do? As you just asked, what do I need to do in order to be AI ready or automation ready?
Yep.
And the most important part is to build your data infrastructure. And what we know that just 10% of owners and operators in the United States right now are ready with their data being centralized and normalized.
Okay. That's really important. Yeah.
This is the most important thing, because AI became commodity, right? It's just a matter of price. Everybody has access to AI. Happened, right? Now, there are two questions that comes after that. So let's say I centralize my data. Let's say I normalize my data. And by the way, we are helping a lot of our partners to centralize and normalize their data. Then the question, how can you leverage AI in an extremely friendly and efficient way? The way we tackle it is very similar to Zapier. We said, here is a set of integration. You have an endless amount of opportunities. You have big library here. And you can grab and implement every single solution in a certain amount of ways. So if you want to build your own workflow, you can build your own workflow in real time. And this is a big game changer. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to do it with Venn. I'm just saying this is a point of view. And our point of view is, I want to see every operator, every owner, every on-site team staff member able to build their own workflow. They know their job better than anyone else. They know what is the right thing for them, and they do the same of what they do every single day. And they are facing with this situation where I dream to be able to automate it. And if you're able to automate it in a matter of seconds, all of a sudden you free up 6 to 20 hours a month that you can do other things that are way more important for the building. So I think that in order to be ready, first of all, you have to centralize your data and you need to normalize the data. And the most important things, you need to own your data.
I just Shelley, when we know the industry, we are working in it for a long time, personally, I'm very confused. I hear so many things, and AI and automation and so on, and as company that building quickly releasing, iterating, I felt that we need some sort of playbook. Like we need, if we could create a recipe, 3 laws of AI and automation, what would they be? And few days ago, I even didn't present it to Or, so it will be the first time that they hear it. I tried to create the 5 laws of AI automation in Venn, and I think it's super relevant to it. So I will keep it like buzzwords. 1, automate the boring, amplify the human, because it isn't about replacing your team. This is a very common mistake. It's about to free them from what they're doing today. 2, as Or mentioned, data without action is just noise. We believe that, or let's come from the positive, AI insights are useless unless they lead to real action. The fact that I will see a huge dashboard with many numbers and trends, it's just creating more overhead and make me more confused. 3, AI that feels personal wins every time. Like the future isn't about chatbots. We are tired from chatbots. It's not innovative. It's real-time AI-powered personalization. That's what will win. 4, your tech stack is either an AI goldmine or a killer. Like if the systems doesn't talk with each other, AI can't work. Something need to connect all of those things. And last, but I think the most important one, um, think beyond the cost saving. Think about revenue boosting, because if you will go and use AI for efficiency, you will always be trapped in this doing the same and same thing. If we'll change the paradigm and think about revenue boosting, this is where the innovation will come from, and this is where you will really use AI in order to improve your business and not just replacing, one system with another.
And by the way, once you have this, you for sure saved a lot of money on the operational side as well. So the only question is that what comes first? What is your guiding star? If you are short mind and you're looking at, okay, I want to save X amount of dollars in like 3 to 6 months, you might be missing something way bigger than that. And this is something that I've seen a lot in our industry. I've seen a lot of, and that, by the way, this is the reason we ended up with so many different point solutions. A lot of people try to solve something extremely specific, and then we lost the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is right in front of us right now, and big things can happen in very short time. And I just want to I want to believe that people will have the bandwidth and the courage to say, okay, we understand, and we're going to go all in now with where the future lays.
I love the recipe, and I think you're spot on with all of the themes going on in multifamily right now. We've got staffing shortages, talent attraction issues, we've got tech stack complexity, we've got data issues all over the place. Data comes up all the time. And tackling that to simplify and free people up for high value service, to me, means everything. And I keep hearing this theme around, we need to get more like the hospitality industry. So you all are really honing in, I think, on the biggest problems in multifamily at a time where we're under extreme economic compression on NOI and a lot of market oversaturation. So the opportunity is ripe. So for companies that are considering starting on their journey of automation, is there, you said data is like a good first place to start. Are you seeing new roles emerging that are tackling this at companies, or is it kind of in a traditional role at organizations that are in charge of that?
Before I answer, I'm really curious, what do you think?
There's a theme right now, and I'm a Gen Xer, and there's a lot of conversation this last year about the need for Gen X to upskill themselves. And I think that also fits into the current economic environment, especially in the prop tech sector. There were a lot of layoffs. So I think there's a need for upskilling, especially around artificial intelligence. Easy enough to do, right? I ended up taking a artificial intelligence and blockchain specialization in my MBA to upskill. The resources are out there on Coursera. They're out there on Masterclass. Like you can get those upskilling that's necessary. What I'm kind of not seeing yet is organizational name changing or role changing going on so much yet. There may be consultants like my friend Stephanie Versen. She's a specialist in centralization consulting, but those organizations haven't really hired that person yet. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to watch, and I think it's needed, right? You need people that just focus on automation, centralization, simplification.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think it's one of the things that I'm waiting for the industry to do is to identify better what are those words means.
Yeah.
Right. I hear so many different words, and then when I ask people, okay, what does it mean? I hear different answers, and I think that this is what is a little bit confusing. And one of the things that we kicked off with partnership with a few other companies is the inner circle. And the inner circle is something that we kicked off last week, and we brought 20 of the best people the industry and as do offer together for 48 hours to talk about exactly those kind of things. And the inner circle is meant to identify where are the real challenges. What do we win when we say centralization? What can we do together? What are the things? And I'm always almost shocked that this is something that is not taking place right now in the industry. First of all, people in this industry really like each other, so it feels like a very small community, and everybody wants to hang out together. And you go to those conferences, it feels like everybody knows everybody, even though it's one of the biggest industry in the world. And I think that from those relationships and this level of intention, there is an opportunity to identify what these words mean and how can we solve the challenges that we face or seize the opportunities that we see in front of us right now. So one of the things that we did last week was to identify what kind of opportunities we see and what does it mean to solve those problems. So when it comes to centralization, I hear two things in my point of view. And centralization and automations. One is, how can I own my destiny? How can I make decisions and execute on those decisions in a very quick way? Which means that I need to have access to a lot of different systems, a lot of different solutions, and I want to simplify those solutions my way, based on my brand. And in order to do that, I need tools that allow me to do that. And this is something that is not exist today in the industry. And this is something that we as an industry need to collaborate on in order to get it. So I think that the next few years will be a lot about that, a lot about collaboration, and people understand that companies need to collaborate, competitors that need to collaborate. People need to share the same obsession about the industry and how to take the industry to the next level. And if we do that as an industry, everyone wins.
Okay.
And I think that this is where we see the industry is going.
I think that where we currently at as even I would say the species, we are in front or in the midst of probably one of the biggest revolutions, obviously, that we experience, but in it's not like I'm saying, but I hear smart people saying, and I believe that it's bigger than the Industrial Revolution. And I think that what's currently happening, changing the rules. And if this transition to a new type of operation and new technologies will happen, it will take time. It will be probably longer than what everyone expected, but I'm not sure that operators and owners will need to build the teams in order to embrace this technology, but they will need to choose the right provider with the right technology, and then focus their teams and like positions to capture the new opportunity that will be exist in the industry. So if I was an owner operator right now, I would probably start looking for the best ecosystem AI-led provider and start to plan and strategize what would be the new revenue streams and new services I would like to give my resident, and focus where my strength is. Because we see many organizations, even the bigger ones, trying to embed data teams and AI teams, and it's always something that not clicked well. So we believe that this is probably one of the biggest shifts that we're going to see.
I love these insights. And I think you all are going to be at RetCon next week, right?
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so I think quite a few of our listeners are also big RetCon attendees, and a good place to connect with you. And the inner circle also sounds past due and really needed. And so I'm really excited to check back in with you both in the next coming years and see what develops out of that as we.
And by the way, follow the inner circle. We just posted about it this morning for the first time, so you really invited to take a deep look into it.
Awesome. So we'll make sure we put that into the post as well when we post this. And just really appreciate your time today and this conversation. I really love the work that you both are doing and your entire Venn team in serving the industry forward. We'll also put your website in the post for the podcast as well. But thank you so much for the conversation today. It's truly appreciated.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. And see you in RetCon.
And that wraps up another episode of PropTech Pulse. I hope this conversation has given you valuable insights and perhaps even sparked some ideas for your own PropTech journey. Remember, the future of multifamily is being written right now with every technological advance and innovative solution. So stay curious, stay connected, and keep your finger on the pulse of PropTech. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to PropTech Pulse on your favorite podcast platform and share this along with your colleagues. You can also find us on social media for bite-sized insights and updates. I'm Shelley Robinson, and until next time, let's keep innovating, disrupting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in PropTech and multifamily. Let's build it together.